What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Stand Tall. It is August 12th, so let's dive right into the art of war. There are 5 dangerous faults which may affect a general: recklessness, which leads to destruction; cowardice, which leads to capture; a hasty temper, which can be provoked by insults; a delicacy of honor, which is sensitive to shame; over solicitude for his men, which exposes him to worry and trouble. Interesting. Let's see what the translation says. Therefore, there are 5 traits that are dangerous in generals. Those who are ready to die can be killed. Those who are intent on living can be captured. Those who are quick to anger can be shamed. Those who are puritanical can be disgraced. Those who love people can be troubled. Chow Chow or Cao Cao says, those who are brave but thoughtless and insist on fighting to the death cannot be made to yield, but they can be struck by ambush. Meng Chi says, when the general is timid and weak and intent on getting back alive, his heart is really not in the battle and his soldiers are not really keen. So he's following up on a little bit of what has been said previously. Both officers and troops are hesitant, so they are vulnerable to attack and capture. Cao Cao adds again, quick-tempered people can be lured into coming to you by anger and embarrassment. Puritanical people can be lured into coming to you by slander and disgrace. And if you appear in a place, they are sure to rush to defend. Those who love the people there will invariably hasten there to rescue them, troubling and wearying themselves in the process. All right, so with those principles in mind of the 5 dangerous faults, let's go over to the Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday and Stephen Hanselman, see what they have to say. Make the words your own, a reflection from Seneca. Many words have been spoken by Plato, Zeno, Chrysippus, Posidonius, and by a whole host of equally excellent Stoics. I'll tell you how people can prove their words to be their own, by putting into practice what they've been preaching. Seneca, Moral Letters 108.35-38. One of the criticisms of Stoicism by modern translators and teachers is the amount of repetition. Marcus Aurelius, for example, has been dismissed by academics as not being original because his writing resembles that of other earlier Stoics. The criticism misses the point. Even before Marcus's time, Seneca was well aware that there was a lot of borrowing and overlapping among the philosophers. That's because real philosophers weren't concerned with authorship, only what worked. More important, they believed that what was said mattered less than what was done. And this is as true now as it was then. You're welcome to take all of the words of the great philosophers and use them to your own liking. They're dead, they don't mind. Feel free to tweak and edit and improve as you like. Adapt them to the real conditions of the real world. The way to prove that you truly understand what you speak and write, that you truly are original, is to put them into practice. Speak them with your actions more than anything else. All right, let's break this down. Speak them with your actions more than anything else. Personal story. From when I was younger, I was a bellhop. I had a general manager who basically had to gather everyone together and talk about, intention is not always shown through action or words. And so always be careful of what are you showing based on what you are intending. So that's therefore actions speak louder than words. And I guess it was a good little speech, and who knows who that was directed at, but it was all the front desk people and all the waiters and waitresses in the restaurant, and all of that. So it was interesting. Um, and then adapt them to the real conditions of the real world, and the borrowing and the overlap. That's because they're not concerned with authorship. Okay, only what worked. That's the important part. Only what worked. And so that's why with Sun Tzu's Art of War, and it's one of the reasons it's so timeless, is because these are principles that work. These, in a sense, these are principles and philosophies and things like that of the Eastern philosophers, in a sense, of generals. And what we're doing is rewriting them when we read them and talk about them, and adapting to the conditions of our real world and what's going on right now, whether we're business owners, leaders of some sort, coaches, teachers, writers, anything. And this all can apply in some way. And so these 5 dangerous faults I find to be very general in the sense of, maybe a religious, seven deadly sins almost, of like recklessness. Like if you're in a leadership position, a general, recklessness can lead to destruction. Cowardice can lead to capture. A hasty temper can be provoked by insults. Okay, so let's just break some of those down. Like recklessness, which leads to destruction. Being so gung ho can be dangerous, especially in business, if you don't plan, if you don't coordinate, if you don't take time to reallocate, and all of that. But cowardice at the same time, if you aren't aggressive enough, if you're not paying attention, if you're not following all the right strategies, all the right principles, and that sort of thing. So a delicacy of honor, which is sensitive to shame. Failing. That's what I think that is. Like, don't be afraid to fail. Don't be so scared of what other people, especially those close to you, think about you. Like if you're gonna fail, you don't put so much pressure on yourself because you feel like you can't be beyond reproach. Like admit as a general that you're only human. Over solicitude for his men, which exposes him to worry and trouble. And so, like, also, oh man, that one hits tough. That one just makes me think of that classic line in Mass Effect 3 where Garrus and Shepard are having a conversation, and it's like the ruthless. They allude Garrus alludes to the ruthless calculus of war. At this point, we're talking about in the future. It's a sci-fi setting, so billions, is at stake when these Reapers start coming to invade the galaxy, and he talks about how it's just overwhelming everywhere. Like these decisions that you have to make in the midst of a galactic war, and every single planet from all of the main species is being attacked at once, and it's just overwhelming force by an outside threat. And the decision is centered around like having to sacrifice 3 billion lives, or like sacrifice an entire planet to save another planet because this planet has a species that is able to help in the war effort, and yada yada. And it's just the ruthless calculus of war. And so I think, like, if you are in a leadership position, you have to separate yourself emotionally in a way, because you have to remain in a state of mind where you can assess these principles mentally, especially like when you think of how some of these principles that we're just sitting around talking about originated from times of stress, from times of war, from times of battle. Um, and so if we equate that to, yes, we have a great life now as opposed to what they had then, but we do have the war of life that we face on a day-to-day basis. And if we are making sure that we're not, like, this is great even for the day, like don't go into a day too gung-ho, mess it all up because you don't have a plan, and you just do a bunch of stuff that means nothing because you spin your wheels. Cowardice, which leads to capture, so basically being a couch potato, but like not like if you're an aspiring couch potato that does, who knows, that's a Ray Dalio thing that I've been reading some of his stuff. But don't let comfort get in the way of conquest. A hasty temper, which can be provoked by insults. Like, don't let people get under your skin and waste time on the little things. It's not worthy. You've got too much good to do. Don't worry about slowing down for the people who want to try to create bad. A delicacy of honor, which is sensitive to shame. We've talked about that. Like, don't be afraid of being judged for being you or for chasing your dreams and things like that. And over solicitude. Okay, so like, maybe this is wrong of me to say, but like, maybe, don't care too terribly much about those around you, because you still have to take care of yourself. And that's because taking care of yourself means you're continuing to take care of those around you. And so if you care too much, you have the ability to be weak and not shore up your defenses, or something similar to that, I think. But yes, very excited to hear y'all's theories, feedbacks, comments, etc. I think those two came together quite beautifully. I know this one's going longer than the others, but we'll see you on the next one.